me to only be committed to myself. And I vividly remember walking away and thinking to myself, like, the only reason I'm able to walk away is because I know how desperately, I knew how much I deeply, deeply yearned to know and to be reconnected with myself. And for the first time in ever, I think, I wholeheartedly chose myself. And it was the strangest feeling because I had never known that. I had always been a person who put the people I love before myself. It's something that we've been taught as women to do, as Hispanic women to do, and it's something that I just learned from my home. That and what I saw growing up. I was fortunate enough to have, and I am still fortunate enough to have a mother who has always put me first. So much so that she's put me first before her own needs, right? But that sent the message my entire upbringing that the people that you love do come before yourself. And that in order to show people that you love them, it's like you sacrifice yourself at their expense, right? And on a deeper level, I had deeply intertwined myself with that way of thinking, that for many, 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 many years, I didn't know how to choose me without it feeling like the most selfish thing to do. And that's another thing that I learned, like, because in today's, like, in today's self-love, like, put yourself first culture, right? We, like, this message of being selfish is, it's really hard for someone who is, like, a deeply rooted people pleaser, or someone who really is so far and disconnected from themselves, and they don't know how to show, like, it's such a foreign concept is what I'm trying to get at, that it feels selfish in the most negative way, right? Give me a second. It feels so selfish, like, in the most negative way. And I felt like the most selfish person last year. And I didn't, like, there was moments of, I understood that it was for my highest good, that I was honest about to myself and to my partners at the time, like, yo, this is not working, like, and no matter how much we try to make this work, like, it's not happening, and we can't force something, because ultimately we're gonna end up hurting each other, um, and yeah, um, last year was also a really big year for me when it came to learning and deeply understanding the power of detachment, right? And I don't mean it in a way that it's like I'm detached and I don't give a fuck about people or people's feelings or what they're like. Not, again, like, these, like, when people talk about you have to be selfish, you have to be detached, these words sound so cold, like, at face value. But and granted, they could be abused and manipulated for your own personal selfish gain, which is different, right? And I say it's different because one lesson that I kept hearing, or just a phrase that kept being like thrown at me last year, was you can't try to help or save anybody else if you can't help or save yourself first, right? And when we think about that, it's like, what is the first thing, like cliche, but it's true. What do they tell us when we get on an airplane? Like, in case of an emergency, if the plane is going down, you put your own breathing cap first, and then you go on and help your neighbor, right? But like I said, when you're not used to choosing yourself, when you're not used to taking care of yourself, looking after yourself, that idea is so foreign, and you quite literally can't wrap your mind around it. And so aside from choosing myself, I had to deeply learn the lesson of detachment. And what that meant was truly allowing things to come in and out of your life in the way that life wants it to be, right? Sometimes opportunities, people, experiences, they come to us so easily, right? And sometimes when things come to us so easily, or we gravitate towards things so easily, we're in awe of those moments, right? And we're like, oh my gosh, but this moment felt magical because it was just so easy and seamless, and I didn't have to try, and all I had to do was be myself, and I resonated with it, and it resonated with me. And because those moments feel so magical, we try to deeply hold on to them as if those moments, those people, those experiences, those things are for us to hold on to like this. And they're not. And that's what practicing detachment looks like. It's welcoming in beautiful new things and experiences and moments and people, but just as in the same way that we easily let them come towards us and we let ourselves go towards them, when we start to see friction and this feeling of like, I'm holding on to it with dear life because I'm so scared of losing it, as soon as those feelings creep in, you're no longer practicing detachment, right? And it's something that we have to deeply understand and learn in order to move through life in a way that flows. Because no matter how beautiful a relationship may be, right? You know inside of your heart, and this goes, you know deep inside of you, right? When it's just not working, when you're trying so hard either to accommodate the situation, the person, the circumstances, wherein you're trying to change yourself to still like be in flow with that thing. Like, as soon as you feel yourself doing the most, and you know what the most feels like for you, take a moment and step back and realize, like, am I putting in all this effort to nurture this thing because I love it with my heart? Or am I putting all this effort in because because somewhere in my head I think that if I don't put in all of this work, it's going to slip away from me. And recognize that if you fear it slipping away from you, you're operating out of fear. You're holding on to it too tightly, and if you're holding it onto it too tightly, it's no longer for you. It's like okay, you know I don't know if this is a good example, right? But I like right now what I can think of is like, you know, Darla in and now I gotta put on my glasses for that, right? You know, like Darla in Finding Nemo, and she's like, fishy, like I want the fishy to like it looks dead, and it's like yeah, Nemo was playing dead because he wanted to go back into the ocean, like he wasn't trying to be in the plastic bag full of water. Um, and Darla may have been like, I want this fish. I want this opportunity. I want this person in my life. I want this experience to go on, right? Or even like, I didn't mention this, but it's that we could even cling on to parts of ourselves that feel like I can't let go of this part of me because this is who I am and this is who I've always been, and if I'm not this person, then who am I? As soon as you start shaking that bag, trying to revive it, it's time for you to let it go. You gotta let it go because Nemo wants to go back in the water, okay? And I don't know if that makes sense to you.